What did Napoleon say at the Battle of Waterloo? Give up? Yeah, so did he. Hey folks, welcome to This Week in History. You know who I am, you know why we're here, so let's get at it. On June 7th at 1494, the Treaty of Tordesillas was signed between Spain, okay technically Castile, and Portugal. See, they've been having some quarrels over who controlled what parts of the New World. And no, people from the New World didn't exactly get a place at the negotiating table. It was decided that the split of territory would be a meridian 370 leagues west of Cape Verde, which are islands off the coast of Africa that Portugal already controlled. It's the purple line there in case you want to know, which was about halfway between Cape Verde and Columbus's discovered lands. And as you can tell, the Spanish got the long end of the stick on this one. But hey, now you know why Brazilians speak Portuguese. A league in this case would be roughly 3.5 miles or exactly 3 nautical miles. Oh, in the Jules Verne book 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, is a reference to how far they traveled underwater, not how deep they went. The ocean's deepest part that we know of is just shy of 7 miles, so almost 70,000 miles down would be impossible. Sorry, Jules. In 1692, Port Royal, Jamaica had about as bad a day as you could have. It started with an earthquake. Yeah, I know that screams for an REM reference, but they're kind of sticklers about copyright, so we'll give Bill Haley in the comments a holler.
I said shake, rattle and roll.
Yeah, it's not quite the same. Screw it, play it anyway.
That's great, it starts with an earthquake.
Ah, that's better. The earthquake then led to a tsunami and then eventually ground liquefaction. And I should have popped up over in the corner if you want to see an entire video just about that. On June 8th in 218, the forces of Roman Emperor Macrinus were defeated by the forces of Elagabalus. Okay, they were mostly the forces of Elagabalus' grandmother, but whatever. Macrinus was eventually captured and executed, and Elagabalus rose to a short stint as emperor. Yep, did a video on him too that you could check out. In 1789, 12 amendments to the U.S. Constitution were proposed by James Madison. This list was expanded to over 20, and eventually 10 of them were passed and became the Bill of Rights that we love and bicker over to this day. What about the others? Well, most of them were merged together except for 2 of Madison's original amendments. One was passed as the 27th Amendment in 1992. The other, the Congressional Proportionment Amendment, is still pending and set the size of congressional districts. By the way, if this one ever does pass, Congress would have about 6,500 members. Madison would go on to be the 4th president, and yes, his wife was named Dolly. And now, a quick word from our sponsor. Howdy folks, I'm here for Sedgwick 2020. That's right, I'm running for president because why the hell not? I'm currently running on the Dale Gribble platform of saving your sorry asses. And like Mr. Gribble, I also support squirrel tactics and pocket sand. I'm willing to dress like this. Look at this hat. I'll try not to bomb anybody, and I've got a much better chance of surviving the next 4 years than those other 2 guys. Plus, come on, I'm just as good a candidate. Ask yourself, what do you have to lose? So this November, just remember to pull that lever for the All-American Squirrel, Sedgwick 2020. When everything's nuts, why not a squirrel? This ad is satire. Please do not vote for a squirrel, and we don't see any of you as sorry asses. Again, do not vote for a squirrel. Thank you. On June 9th in 53, Roman Emperor Nero married his stepsister Claudia Octavia. He would eventually grow bored of, divorce, and exile her, which did not sit well with the Roman public. How did he handle this? Well, he had her executed in a rather bad way and had her head delivered to him. Don't worry, because that same day in 68, Nero died. He wanted to commit suicide, but didn't have the nerve as he was being overthrown, so he had his assistant do it for him. In 1732, James Oglethorpe was given a royal charter by the British government to create a colony in North America. We call it Georgia. On June 10th in 1805, the first Barbary War between the United States and the Barbary States ended with a peace treaty. The second Barbary War would start 10 years later, and yeah, check out that eye up there. And now for this week's Wow, so that's a thing that exists.
I have listened to the cuckoo, 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 and I've heard the rooster cock-a doodle-doo. With the cows and the chickens, they all sound like the dickens when I hear my little Minnie. Yoo-hoo!
Did he just sing a song called Minnie's Yoo-Hoo? On June 11th, in 1184 BC, most likely we think, the city of Troy was destroyed during the Trojan War. Yeah, Troy was real. We're not quite sure about that giant hollow horse though. but there's a pretty good chance that it was either a battering ram or a siege engine. But for some reason, everybody remembers the horse. In 1509, Henry VIII married his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. It, of course, didn't work out, but Henry was a firm believer in the old saying, if at first you don't succeed, try again.
Would you like to know more?
On June 12th in 1775, martial law was declared in Massachusetts, with the British offering a pardon to any who had participated in the growing revolution except for two men, Samuel Adams and John Hancock. Apparently the British just weren't fans of big signatures or good beer. In 1939, filming began on the first full tricolor horror film, Dr. Cyclops. On June 13th in 1381, England's Savoy Palace was burned down during the Peasants' Revolt. Yeah, that one's a little bit too close to home there. In 1966, a decision was made in the case of Miranda versus Arizona, which is why the cops have to read you your rights before questioning. It's that whole right to remain silent thing. And finally, this week at birthdays, we've got Charles the Bald in 823, Charles the Fat in 839. They were both Holy Roman Emperors, by the way. Peter the Great, Tsar of Russia, who did a decent job in 1672. And famed architect Frank Lloyd Wright was born this week in 1867. And that's just gonna about do it for this week in history. We appreciate you coming here. We hope to see you here again next week. Same squirrel time, same squirrel channel. And remember, don't do anything I wouldn't do, but if you do, name it after me.